1986, and surely a fourth title this time for Davis. His opponent in the final, Bradford's Joe Johnson, without a title to his name, a 150-to-1 outsider, was better known in Yorkshire nightclubs than at the snooker table.
I thought it was a fair price, 150s. Maybe even should have even been more, maybe 250s.
Just 17 days ago, he was a rank outsider.
But Joe played fearlessly to belie the odds and take the title.
The crowd here at the Crucible are going mad for Bradford's Joe Johnson. The most remarkable world final I've ever seen, as the capacity crowd go completely mad.
I think they might applaud you all night, but it's been quite an interesting day, hasn't it?
Certainly has. Yeah, terrific, yeah. Brilliant. I'd like to say a few words about Steve. I know that everybody will be behind me because I'm a Yorkshireman, but I mean, what a terrific player Steve is, and I don't think that the people give him the recognition that he should have. I mean, he's a terrific sportsman.
The situation was, for me, totally different to the Dennis Taylor loss. Joe outplayed me. I hadn't thrown it away, I just couldn't live with him on the table in those 2 days. So at the end of it, just shook hands and smiled and went, well done, Joe, what a great performance. And Joe was, you know, he's a lovely guy.
Joe Johnson, champion of the world.
The two faced each other once more in the following year's final.
Is this the frame that Steve Davis is looking for?
And vengeance was Davis's, an 18-14 victor. The king was back.
Steve Davis, 78.
He breaks down at 78. But Joe Johnson, the defending champion, is the first to come out and congratulate Steve Davis, who in Diamond Jubilee year becomes Embassy World Snooker Champion for the 4th time.
The following year, Davis steamrollered the field to take his 5th title. Terry Griffiths, his final victim in an 18-11 win.
He has shown what a complete master he is.
This will leave Terry needing snookers.
$64.
Already had 2 centuries this evening. And still concentrating, but it's all over for the 5th time. Steve Davis becomes Embassy World Champion.
And to complete his glorious decade, Steve equalled Ray Reardon's modern record of 6 titles with an 18-3 drubbing of John Parrott.
John, I feel, is demoralized. The biggest defeat this championship has known.
One.
Born to be champion. "25 points in front.
Eight.
All the words have been used up in adoration of Steve Davis.
Davis took the title with a session to spare.
John Parrott concedes. He's satisfied with 63,000. But the title of Embassy World Snooker Champion, 1989, and a hat-trick goes to the fabulous Steve Davis.
But I do remember having the feeling that I wasn't playing great snooker in the build-up to the tournament and being very worried about my cue action and not happy how I was playing. So to actually turn that around and by the end of the tournament be playing possibly some of the best snooker I'd ever played at the Crucible, certainly in the final, and to be so clinical amongst the balls and pounced on every one of John's mistakes, that's how it seemed, and clearing up time after time to win frames. One of the most satisfying wins.
John Parrott, ladies and gentlemen.
I'd had a great season that year, starting to come to fruition with my snooker. I'd had some tournaments beforehand where I was in at least quarters, semis or finals of nearly everything I was playing in. And basically turned up at Sheffield that year in decent enough form, but not great. But somehow managed to get to the final. I didn't play particularly well. And basically mentally rubbed out. And when I got in the final, I played Steve, who was still at the top of his game. And basically, he was flying at the moment and I was just tired. And I just got worse and worse. And I said afterwards I played like a slow puncture. And that's exactly what happened. And he just pulverised me.
Hi, I'm Dave Jenkinson. I'm a cameraman. I've been working on the World Championship snooker in Sheffield for more years, I'm going to admit. The space here, to be honest, is so tight, it's not true. It's like somebody's put a snooker table in your front room, invited about 900 people to come watch, and then they go and divide the room in half. So you get about 5 feet of space between the edge of the table and the edge of the set. Well, the camera's about 3 foot, 3'6", and it makes it very difficult. It's because it's so compact, because the audience is sat so close to you. It is just like, playing with people in your own house or something like that. If you go to Wembley, you've got so much space. The audience are very distant. You go to Preston, it's the same. A lot of the other venues are all the same. But this is the only one where the audience are practically sat on your lap.
A new decade and a new period of domination. The 90s were Stephen Hendry's era.
Making his TV debut, Stephen Hendry.
The talents of the wee bairn had long been talked about. That early promise was about to be fulfilled.
Settle down, please.
Hendry made the final and faced Jimmy White, conqueror of Steve Davis in the semis.
White struggling against some despair in his mind.
Very calm, very cool. Playing beautifully.
And this break is starting to look very likely to be the killing thrust.
71.
And with that break of 71, Stephen Hendry brings a great championship to an end. He has beaten Jimmy White by 18 frames to 12 to become the youngest ever champion.
He was just 21 years and 106 days old.
Everyone's ambition when they play snooker is to be Embassy World Champion, and to achieve that, to become the youngest ever, was an amazing achievement, and it made me the world's #1 ranked player at the same time. So it was like a double celebration. I achieved everything that I wanted to achieve, in that one night. So as you say, fantastic memory.
The beginning for Hendry, but 1990 marked the end for Alex Higgins. He lost in the first round, and following a series of disciplinary transgressions, Higgins was banned for a year.
Hurricane doesn't want to be part of this tribe anymore. No disregard to the Northern people, because they like tribe. I like it as well. I don't want to play anymore.
Despite announcing his retirement from the game, he did return, but the hurricane had effectively blown his last. Not even Henry could overcome the Crucible curse. He was defeated by Steve James in the quarters, while John Parrott made it to his second final to face Jimmy White in his third.
Hint of desperation about that one from Jimmy White. He's got an awful lot to do, whereas John Parrott has just got to be patient.
And that is the shot that's going to finish this championship.
And John Parrott's waited a long time for this. He's suffered some defeats and disappointments on the way. Finally, the whirlwind Jimmy White concedes to John Parrott, and a very deserving champion. John Parrott wins the Embassy World Championship 18 frames to 11.
Before I go any further, I think I've sat in that chair myself after being beaten in the final, and I think Jimmy deserves an extra round of applause. I can't play any better than that. I'm looking forward to getting the video off you for that one. Because, quite honestly, the first session I wouldn't have liked to have played myself.
And at the time, you're still so high on adrenaline and still so focused on what you've been doing for 17 days that I don't think you truly appreciate what it is until you've had a little bit of time away. I didn't. I mean, at the time, it was all a bit of a blur, and it's one of those things you'd love to have done again just to truly appreciate it. But at the time, you're so fully focused and concentrating that, you know, the next half an hour or whatever it was just, you know, very strange.